I want to talk about this because, there was a little tension between us.
Yeah.
I don't know that people know this. How would they? But you were not upset, livid at
I don't
me.
know if I was livid.
I'm telling you were.
I mean, I can get intense, I know. Yeah.
You were upset because, of course, Robin Williams passes away. On the show, I talk about, love him for the work that he does. Of course, his movies are great. But it bothered me when people talked about his stand-up because I was saying how he was a joke thief.
Yeah.
And other people got upset at this, like you did, that I said it. Why do I have to say it when Robin Williams just died? Why not wait? And on top of that, you, of course, knew Robin Williams from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah. Well, Chemda reached out to me after that. I remember I was feeling really upset, and I put on this podcast because I was like, oh, let's just think about something happy, or just listen to something funny. And when I heard that, I just started crying again because it felt, like, Keith, I'd seen you the day before, and it was, I thought that it was like there was part of me that was like, did he, this feels like.
Was I thinking of you is what you're saying? Well,
yeah, like you knew that we'd worked together and you'd just seen me, and like, so I would have thought, but then I don't know. I felt really upset, but I didn't quite know what to do, and Chemda sent me a letter, and we ended up talking it out. And I think what she said was right, that when you talk about somebody after they die, it's not that it's an insult to them, it's that it can upset the people that they know and they care about. And I hadn't heard that he was a joke thief. I mean, it's not cool to steal jokes. I knew him in, the 90s when he was doing pretty well, and he, he'd always... I'm sure he always self-medicated, but he was just like a loving father when I knew him. He was a loving father. He was doing his hard work. He was always on, even completely sober. He was always on. That was just the way that he was. And I knew him as a really kind guy that I looked up to, who did a lot of really good things. So hearing that, I think, was kind of jarring for me. But, I mean, that is your prerogative. And in some ways, I think, Keith, that's kind of your role, to be the iconoclastic one, to speak out, to say these things. And so,
for what it's worth, I don't know if this is better or worse. I was not thinking about you.
Yeah.
And there's not a thing where I'm going, ha, he's dead. Yeah. I know people could get upset by it. Yeah. I almost feel it's my duty to say something when, like Dane Cook, I find an extreme joke thief.
Yeah.
When he dies, is the right thing to do just let it go? If you have a book coming out, if I know somebody that stole from your book, when they die, do I just let it go?
Yeah, I mean, and that's and I thought about that, and I did. If I have one good quality, it's that I can see things from other people's points of view. And I talked to Danny about it, and I said, why did they even bring it up? And Danny said, well, that's being current. And I was like, yeah, well, I guess you're right there, and you were going to share your opinion, and so. While I wasn't happy about it, I understand why you did it. And while it was hard for me to hear, I understand what you were saying. And yeah, I mean, I'd never heard that he was a joke thief before. It's not cool to steal jokes. I don't know. I just think that I do think that, some of the things you said and some of the ways you put them, I don't know. I guess I just thought that Chemda had a point that, you think about the people that are close to them and that it might hurt them when they die, I
get what you're saying.
I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer, honestly.
I also think it's a balance. I've said this before. Penn Jillette talked about his mother dying, and he was actually his mother's death. Yeah. He was actually very, very close to her, although I think there was a really large age gap between them. And he said that he would have to be careful turning on the TV and the radio and certain movies and things like that. And because they showed, mothers dying or something that would remind him or maybe even news or whatever. Yeah. And he said that he's very anti, what do you call it when you stop
censorship?
People? Yeah. And so
he's like a hardcore libertarian.
Yeah. So his big thing was he's like, I had to censor myself.
Yeah.
I had to watch out what I was going to see. Yeah. I had to turn off the TV when I didn't want to.
And that was the thing. I was avoiding a lot of that stuff, and I listened to the podcast, and I was like, oh, maybe they'll touch on him dying, but I didn't know that they were, that you were Like
I
didn't know
think that
had
you were listening to the show so regularly, which was flattering in the worst way to find out.
Yeah.
I think I would have given you a heads up.
Well, I didn't listen to it for a while after that, but then I felt a lot better after we talked it out. And, I mean, it is your prerogative and in some ways your duty, Keith, to say what you think. That's what you do.
I really, and you're not the first person to tell me this about people in general when they die. I only because I brought him up recently. I'm going to bring him up again. Roger Lafferty was one of more than a few bullies I had in high school. And he might have been one of the worst ones because that's how the day started. He was the one on the bus that wouldn't let me have the seat. And you're like, well, here we go again. You know, as soon as you get on the bus, the trouble starts.
Yeah.
I enjoyed very much seeing him on Facebook at 500 pounds without exaggeration.
Yeah,
this pleases me very much. He will die soon because of that. Now, when he dies...
Oh, God.
Well, I guess I just have to let it go, right? Because that's the end, and why make his family sad?
I don't know. It's hard. I acknowledge that it's hard. It's something. I mean, I actually found out that one of the girls who used to bully me in high school is now a guidance counselor. Yeah.
But some people make those giant turnarounds. I really think I don't know that we are who we were in high school.
The one picture I happen to see,
or how we behaved. Anyway.
She was not like an unhappy person who bullied other people. Like she was pretty, and she was, she was just.
I take it back. Fuck her.
She just wanted to have she just wanted to have a good time, and fuck you if you got in the way of her having a good time.
The one picture I saw of Roger, he's sitting down. And he's so big, it looks like the stool chairs are coming out of his asshole.
And I saw that picture. He really isn't exaggerating, and it's very sad.
That's just a really image. That's just a really interesting image. Anyway, go on.
But could he have turned his life around? Coincidentally, in the picture, he's giving the camera the middle finger. Coincidentally.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this about death. There's certain places where I think they should respect the person's name and should bring up, more positive than negative and when telling that story. And I think that's the news, that is certain blogs. It's certain. I don't think that you can expect it necessarily from comedy shows that, on any other on any other day, Keith would have been making fun of somebody else who died or his bully who died or somebody should drop dead. His cousin looked at him weird, so he should eat an asshole.
Well, that's why after a while, that's why I let it go because honestly, obviously I didn't completely let it go because I'm bringing it up now, but I do feel like people were going to ask me about it because people ask me about anything relating to Robin these days. Like I'm an expert. Like, no, we worked together closely when I was young. And he was really nice to me throughout the years, but I'm not his actual daughter, guys.
I'm so convinced that somebody was like, "Could you call him?"
Right.
Somebody is so delusional.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it's. But and I thought about it, and I was angry for a little while, but I do understand where you're coming from, and I do understand that it is like irreverence is the game, That's
I thought it was impressive that even it was the week of that I saw you that we had that discussion. We exchanged a few emails, and you were so open to hearing any of that. I think you get a pass the first week, month, the first year.
For a month, I was really upset. I was kind of in a haze, and then I got into book stuff and had to be kind of on my A game, and. But yeah, I was like really upset. I would do shows and I would be really happy, and then afterwards I would walk outside and I would just start crying. And I ended up I'd call my family members because I'm lucky I have cool brothers and sisters. So I'd call my brother at God only knows what hour. He lives in one of those states that doesn't do daylight savings time, so I never know what time it is when I'm calling him.
And so on this end, I give up.
Yeah, so it's just he works weird hours. He's used to it, and it was I don't know. It was jarring. I think also it wasn't even that it was him. It was that I've been very lucky. I was not lucky when my mother died when I was 8, but not a lot of people in my life have died since then, and my grandfather died, and I had, but I had Robin Williams, and right after that I had Sir Richard Attenborough, who I'd also worked with, and one right after the other.
Really close.
Yeah, really close. And I had to do a show the night that Sir Richard died. And and it was really rough, but I think that's kind of, it was just like I hadn't dealt with grief in so long. But the weird thing was that it felt familiar. It didn't feel good, but it felt familiar. I was like, oh, right, I know this feeling because this is what I felt when I was, 8 years old. This is that haze that settles in,
right.
Because two people you worked with have just died.
Does part of you think you're cursed?
No.
Do you have to keep it like I got to call it the Matilda cast? This is. I mean,
going
terribly.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I worry a lot about people dying, but I guess I didn't expect Robin to die, and I don't think. I mean, I knew Sir Richard was getting old, but it made me sad to think about, so I just didn't think about it. And yeah, it's
Which also, wouldn't that be the right thing to do? Waiting for somebody to die because of their age is probably...
Yeah, that's horrific.
Yeah, and I feel like old people feel that. Like, you're talking to me, but I'm still here.
Well, he was a really just incredibly successful, like, amazing, accomplished guy, and Sir Richard was. And so it's kind of, you just don't think of those people dying. You just don't. I think it's just kind of like, nope, gonna live forever. Nope, because I don't want it,
Yeah, and then this sparks that thought.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, what's going on? You're on Keith and the Girl.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, that's the hello. Hello, Jackie Martling. How you doing?
I guess this is as good a time as any to tell you that I've got 6 weeks left on the planet.
Well, you have good timing.
Yeah, it's not fun, so I have a lot of things I have to do. So I'm flying to Nashville in the morning, but I forget why. Listen, I hear you talking about death and destruction,
right.
So I'm just calling it. I'm a very busy man, but I would like to tell you a joke.
There's always time for that, Jackie.
So a woman walks into her daughter's bedroom, and her daughter's using a vibrator.
Okay.
She says, "Honey, what are you doing?" She says, "Mom, I'm 40 years old. I didn't even have a boyfriend. I'll never get married. This is my husband." So a few minutes later, her father walks in. She's using a vibrator. He says, "Honey, what are you doing?" She says, "Daddy, I'm 40 years old. I don't even have a boyfriend. I'll never get married. This is my husband." So the next day, the wife and the daughter go out shop, and then they come back a few hours later, and they walk in the kitchen, and the old man's standing there. He's got a martini in one hand. He's got the vibrator buzzing away in his ass. And his wife says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm having a drink with my new son-in-law."
Oh no, he's doing the best he can with the situation. Oh, this guy.
I would love to talk to you longer, but I will see you soon.
Why didn't the daughter lock her door? Why didn't she lock her door?
He had to go, Mar. We'll never know. Guy's on the move.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But you do bring up a good point. Why didn't she lock the door?
Yeah.
There might be a reason why she never got married, with her father putting a son-in-law up his ass.
Yeah.
That's a weird place to put him.
Oh, what if he was like stealing her boyfriends? And now the joke gets sad. Okay, let's like bring it back to happy things.
That's really where I thought it was going.
Yeah.
Like I have to tell you something. I'm gay now or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's anti-humor. Yeah.
Let's dissect a Jackie Martling joke.
Yeah.